Hello and welcome back to the Lap Down podcast, where we have had some cars driving round the streets of Monaco. My name is Dan, joined by AB, and we are here to provide you with all of the best bits from Monaco and some of the stuff that you never saw or noticed or even thought about up till now. The best podcast you've never listened to. Leave us a review, subscribe to us, like us, share it with a friend, all of that great stuff. Send us an email because we like to hear from you. AB,
yes.
Did you enjoy Monaco?
No.
Oh,
there it is. Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about, very little of which is motor car racing, which never bodes particularly well for a recap podcast of a motor car race. Historically, not what you're looking for. We do have quite a long list of things that we want to talk about, which is good, bearing in mind that we need to talk about them to make this work as a medium. It would just be nicer if we were getting to talk about strategy and on-track battles and, oh, how about that move and this move? And instead, we're going to be talking about the back of Cynthia's head and the fact that the road broke apart a bit and that there was a swimming pool. I mean, it's Monaco, baby. So, you know, these things happen. We also have a little bit of team radio from Dan 2 later. And if you would like to be team radio in a future episode, you can. Team radio at lapdownpod.com. Send us an email or go to lapdownpod.com, press the button at the top that says team radio. That'll send us an email as well. It's two ways to get to the same outcome. Right, come on then. You were calling you Mr. Monaco is harsh. You're not Mr. Monaco. You are positively neutral about Monaco.
I imagine that as a nickname. That would be an unbelievable nickname to have. They don't just give that nickname away to anybody, do they? They give that nickname to people that do well around the streets of Monaco. I've never been to Monaco, so my ability to do well around the streets of Monaco is currently unknown.
Yes,
but
true.
I suspect it wouldn't be good enough to
sort of Schrodinger's Monaco situation on you, isn't it?
Similar, very similar.
Yeah,
which I think leads quite nicely into the first point. And we knew that Saturday was going to be the more exciting day, didn't we?
Yes.
And Q1 and Q2, if we're honest, Q1 and Q2 are a bit boring. They just are. It doesn't even on like wide circuits, they're just a bit boring. There's almost a formality. You kind of know that 8 of the cars are going to get through, and then it's sometimes a little bit of excitement. And nobody gives a shit who qualifies 16th and 15th. Like, no one cares. Just get on with it. Like, look, fill the hours broadcast. Give me the 10 minutes at the end. I would like to start with a point of, in the world of Formula One, and we've got to do a little bit of creativity here and a bit of imagination. In the world of Formula One, is there anything else on the calendar at any particular moment that would ever give a driver a buzz of that final Q3 qualifying lap around the streets of Monaco? Because watching that come through, seeing the telemetry with the speeds at which they were getting up round those corners, watching the thing go sideways round the swimming pool, I don't think there's another bit of the Formula One calendar that gets a Formula One driver like fizzy and frothy like a final Q3 lap at Monaco does.
Well, this may surprise you. I've not driven a Formula One car before.
No?
So I'm working on external guessing here.
I did say it needed imagination.
Yes, and I'm going deep into that imagination. And I'm going to throw at you, maybe, but then like a Saudi Q3, a Jeddah Q3, just because of pace. So obviously Monaco, very, very fiddly, very technical, and there's a multiplier because you know how important that is compared to others. So it's what's causing the tingles, because I mean, there's one point where I think they're doing like 60 mile an hour around the hairpin. Now, I've been 60 mile an hour in a car before. Not that exciting anymore, particularly when I'm used to going some 300.
I don't think you've done a 180-degree turn at 60 mile an hour.
No, but comparatively, that's very slow at that stage. So there's obviously, it's very high intensity, but then I think like was it Jeddah where Max Verstappen had that ridiculous lap until he just clipped the wall or was that Saudi and Jeddah the same place?
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Yes, that's the same. Why am I getting a second one?
Not sure.
That
Well
last one
respected Formula One podcast, by the way, folks.
Absolutely. when Martin Brundle called him hitting the wall before he'd actually hit the wall because Martin just saw that he was incredible. Like that kind of lap, I go, is that the Fizzing Wisby? That one there, because that you're basically doing 300 mile an hour the entire time and you're still going, wah. So, but then the multiplier of the importance of it, because for the first half of the Grand Prix, first 2/3 of the Grand Prix, before it all broke, everyone just followed it. They just drove in a circle. It was NASCAR. It was a desert. I mean, I was about to come off the long run on Monaco, and it's been redeemed by the fact that everyone broke. So yes-ish, I'll say yes-ish to you.
I'll add some more bits to it, and you can come back to it if you want. But like the width of the road, I think, has to be taken into consideration. The fact that it is quite bumpy, I think, has to come into consideration. The elevation change has to come into consideration. I think you've nailed it with regards to the jeopardy side of it and the fact that there is so much going on it. But I just think, like, when you see it and you clock up and it's like a 2-lane road and this thing's doing 180 miles an hour, and you're looking at it going, like, where could you even think about doing 180 mile an hour on a 2-lane road near you without feeling as though you're actually just going to die? And I genuinely don't think you could. I don't necessarily think the speed is the massive thing, because I don't think speed is that exciting. I think at the point that you're doing like 70 miles an hour or the point that you're doing 200, if you're going in a dead straight line, it's probably quite boring after you've got used to it, like you said. But the fact that you've got that thing that's kind of like sucked you in like this, and then you're going into braking zones and you're going because you've driven over like some champagne corks and things like that. And honestly, like those, I will say they have nailed, and you'd like to think so after 72 Grand Prix, they have nailed where they put the cameras, because those corners coming through the swimming pool, and it's like 2 wheels are in the air and the other 2 wheels in the car are going sideways, and like Martin's getting all jizzy in the commentary box, and you're just like, how the piss in heck have you managed to keep this out of the way? It's incredible. It is incredible.
Yeah, there was one shot that they only seemed to use once, I think, where we saw they looked through the barrier, and it was, I think, a handheld one, and it wasn't on a corner that I think we usually got that kind of shot on. That was relatively cool. I think because I lack the fizziness about Monaco in general, I then get less romantic about how cool is this? It's a big car in a place it shouldn't be. I just see it from the practical. It's a big car in a place it shouldn't be. Let's not put it there, because it's just. I think I can get my fizzies elsewhere. I will say one thing around Monaco that does make me fizzy. How satisfying is it that you just get Mario Kart craned off the circuit? Like they know exactly where, not exactly where, but they know likely where it is that cars are going to be stranded. And so like 15 seconds after Charles out that car, and it's shameful. There's something so much more shameful about seeing a Formula One car be craned just off the circuit down on the other side of the wall. Like, you've been knocked out, mate. Goodbye. Some Royal Rumble bullshit, that is. Love it. This, when it's marshals pushing it, wheeling off the track and whatever, that's not as shameful, I don't think, as just this big inanimate object coming over like the claw in Toy Story and just, goodbye, you're done. I'm putting you over here in the wrecking yard. It's wrecking yard vibes. That's what it is. I like that a lot. That gets me going.
Look at the positivity you're sharing about Monaco on the official positivity podcast of the Formula One World Championship. We're back this week.
We're back. Can I ask a question about the presentation of qualifying on the telly? I've had an idea about quali.
Okay.
At the minute in qualifying, we get there's 3 sectors, and we get 3 time updates, basically. You get the end of sector 1, the end of sector 2, and then when we cross the line.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite exciting because you don't know. And someone can have gone purple in the first sector, then yellow in the second, and all of a sudden they're down by a bit. Would it be better or worse for the TV broadcast to use more of the mini sectors? I'm not suggesting every mini sector. I don't need it like race timing update. That would be too much. But would 6 sector time updates over the course of, and maybe this is just in Q3, or maybe they turn on when they're doing 3 sector or 6 sector or whatever, like end of Q2 type thing. Would that make quali better or worse to get more regular information about whether someone is up or down on where they need to be? Or is the suspense of, I've got a 34-second wait here through sector 2 to find out if someone is up or down, does the suspense make it better? Or would it be better to be like, oh, he's up. Is he still up? He's still up. Oh, go. Is more numbers better or not?
Sure. Why not? 2026, move for the times. I remember living in a world where they used to stand there with stopwatches. And that's kind of what you'd get with it. And you would get quite literally those 3 individual sector times, and that would be it. And that would be your ability to try and figure out what was going on. I'd like to level it up one more, because I think what you've said there would add a lot of value to qualifying broadcast. I'd like more multi-box action with with qualifying broadcast. Now, we've kind of got it, but I don't think the TV director got it right with the Monaco qualifying. As positive as I was about it, and I'm going to go under PSC conditions here, is I don't necessarily want big screen of the big chubby Formula One car wobbling around Anthony Nodes and then going down the banana straight. And then the tiny box on the left-hand side to be the car that's going sideways and up, like wall riding Tony Hawk's down the side of it around the swimming pool. I'd like a 50-50 or like a quad box or something like that.
You're an NFL boy, aren't you?
Yeah. I
want red zone.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that would slap. Qualifying Saturday, Q3, because we've already established Q1 and Q2 are pointless. Q3, red zone, multi-box. We're here for 16 hours of uninterrupted and all of that good stuff. Give me that.
Not anymore. There's ads in it now. Really upset. He can't say 7 hours of commercial-free football anymore, because guess what? They put a bunch of commercials in it. No, I like the idea of a quad box.
Yeah.
I think a quad box would be really good. Just because you get, as much as anything, you want to be able to see a moment or an error, so that I don't. It's almost the most underwhelming thing is, I think Charles had it on his final lap where
he threw it in the wall at Tabak, didn't he?
Yeah, which we didn't see at any point, and we didn't know. And he was actually up at the time, I think, and then by the end of the second sector was well down because he's crawling home at that point. And I think it got mentioned on the F1 TV broadcast that it's just like, oh no, Charles nowhere. It's like, well, hang on, why is Charles nowhere all of a sudden? Like he went purple, I think, in the first sector, and then it's suddenly nowhere, and we didn't get to see it. If we had some quad box action, even an overcorrection in quali is enough. Like you can kind of, when you ride on board, you can be like, well, that's not the lap. There's too much sawing at that wheel. I think, yeah. They are using the picture-in-picture box more, aren't they? Which is good. And I think they did for a while there and then reverted it this weekend, which we will get to in a bit. They started using the pit box for bullshit. So we would get Kim Kardashian in the pit box.
Yeah.
Not this weekend. And there are times where I'm seeing... Yeah, can we not... Even during the race, give me a duo box and a quad box of battles during the race, because it's...
Yeah.
I very rarely need the full widescreen in F1. F1 could still work on old school 4:3 tellies, I think, because I need to see the width of the car and then a little bit either side. I don't need to see to the edges of the track because I can sort of work that out by myself. So we can duo side by side, can't we?
Yep.
I think F1 Red Zone is where we need to go. I like that. But so we'll go Red Zone, we'll go quad box. Would you rather 3 or 6 timing sectors for the quality broadcast?
I think if we are going to commit to quad boxing, I think we have to provide the data that complements the quad box, and I think at that point there we need 6 timing areas, maybe more. Maybe we need more. If we've got the pictures to go with it, I think we stand a chance at being able to build something cool. But let's before we go and take this to the bigwigs at Formula One, let's just kind of make sure that we get the quad box thing right, and then we can add layers to it, I think.
Yeah. Tell you what I'm picturing now, and this whole episode might just turn into us coming up with new PV graphic direction ideas, right?
Nice.
But picture this. Along with the quad box, we now get the ghost car replays, don't we? Where we see how you were tracking at certain points of the lap. Kimmy was better through sector 1. You can see, hey, look, he's half a car length ahead. Could we have some kind of digital track map in quali that is the live position of, say, the chasing car against a comparative of where either the knockout person was or the current pole sitter was at that point? Because they have that they've got like 100 mini sectors or something like that, so they kind of know where they are. They could simulate that, and then they could roll it back 18 seconds. So now on the track map, I could see Kimi Antonelli chasing down where Max was on his lap. It's like, oh, he's up through there. Oh, he's just or even on a straight line. Give it to me. Don't even need it on a track map. Give it to me on a straight line.
Linear.
Start of lap, line. Right. Ooh. It's like old school Mario Party when you're doing that one through the mines where you have to stay on top of your thing and you see the two faces moving up the side of the... I want that in quali, please. Just to give me... gamify it. I like that. I could sit on the bottom of the quad box, surely.
I'll pay
Make
it.
that happen.
I'll
Make
pay
that
it.
happen.
I want
AWS
it
can sort
involved.
that, surely. AWS will be all over that.
They might all be made up, but they'll definitely be able to create something.
Yes, that'd be
That's
fine.
fine.
It's all made up anyway. It's bullshit.
Good news.
It's all a simulation,
Quality.
man.
Well, I'm glad we've
It's
got
all
that
fake.
sorted.
Yep, perfect. Do we have anything else from... What I will say, actually, maybe to round out quali, and this is a little bit like what you said of Q1's pointless, and I say this is all due respect to Cadillac, Aston Martin, right? Can we stop, please? And this is to the commentators. Can we stop pretending like there is any risk of a Cadillac getting out of Q1? Because every single qualifying session, I can guarantee you Valtteri Bottas is in P20 and they're going, right, here comes Bottas. Personal best through the first sector. Here he comes. Bottas making great time here. Comes across the line, improves, stays P20. Every week he improves and stays P20. We know what's coming. The car is slow. They are a new team. It's not their fault. They're doing a great job. They nearly scored points this week. It went for Checo fucking parking it wherever he fancied. The bar is in hell for Cadillac, but let's stop getting our hopes up because he had a green sector that the car is actually any good now. It's not. It's not meant to be. That's not how it works. So let's all just calm down and then be surprised when it happens. Not building it up, please. Because every week is, oh, here comes, Barrett. No. The position's never changed once. Same with the Astons. It flashes green, little checkered flag icon, go home, take your helmet off.
Yeah. Fine.
There you go. That's my Q1 thing.
Nice.
That's my Q1 thing. Right. The race. Here we go. Here's where the tone shifts from the PS. Tell you what, Bert, get ready behind that wheel because I think you might be coming out shortly.
I think we might be going out of full PSC here.
Where do we start? Should we start with some good things? Should we talk about the Moet swimming pool? Because you liked the Moet swimming pool. That was, I think, one of the first things you put down in your notes was the Moet swimming pool. So let's go there.
It was excellent, wasn't it? There's no other way to describe it. It looked so good. It looked fake, which is what I think pre-recording would back this up because you didn't even know it was a real swimming pool, which was wonderful, wasn't it? So that's something that you've learned today, and that's good. But then the perfection of the way that the word Moet was on the surface kind of made my brain itch in a way that I couldn't work out whether it had been superimposed the whole time or whether it was actually a floating letter set, because the shadow underneath it again looked so perfect, like the water. And this isn't going to surprise you, is it, being in Monaco? But it didn't look like a scrubby community swimming pool, did it? I
was about to say the color of that water. If you ask me to describe the color of a pool, that is the color that I'm going to describe to you. That was the perfect colored pool. And I Googled before whether the letters were floating. Were they on the bottom of the pool? Were they a platform or something? Yeah. I don't have an answer. I'm 90% sure that they were real because I've seen pictures from another angle, and they were in that. So I don't think it's like inside the tunnel where it's a fake billboard on the wall. They upgraded that this year. I don't know if you noticed this. This is how boring it was that I was paying attention to this during the race. The CGI billboard in the tunnel was no longer just a floating screen. They'd actually put in CGI frame and infrastructure around the fake billboard, because fake billboard can't just hang there on nothing. That's silly. So there was actually like a metal outline around it now to try and make it look like it was actually there. But no, lovely pool. Beautiful. Crisp pool. So well done to them for that. And well done to the drone in Monaco. I think that's probably its strongest performance of the year, and that might be a career best for the Formula One drone. I think it got itself into different places. It got itself high. It was just in the right place at the right time. Good. Well bowled, the Monaco drone.
I don't know how the drone gets better than that.
No.
I genuinely, I don't know. That might be it now. That might literally be it. We spoke about it on a podcast before about having a complete circuit overview top-down drone, which I think is basically a satellite. But I don't think we're getting there yet. So there is still room for improvement. But this one, particularly when it went up over the top of the casino, and you could see from up towards the top of the hill to that fast left-hander that names escapes me right now, and then you go into Casino Square, down the hill in towards that Fairmont hairpin type thing, back around under the little bridge, and then they disappear into the tunnel. I mean, that had like Micro Machines vibes. That was just incredible. Absolutely incredible. And it made, I saw bits of Monaco that I'd never seen before, and I've watched the Monaco Grand Prix before I can remember that I've watched the Monaco Grand Prix, and that was great.
Like the 4 grass domes on top of what I think is a hotel on the back there. And I can't tell if that's just because they haven't cleaned their windows and they're really mossy, or whether they do actually have sort of living roofs on top of it. But that bit I've been to Monaco, so the rainbowy circle didn't surprise me, because I've stood on that balcony and looked over and went, oh, that's a rainbowy bit. How fun. Congratulations. Nice. It's Pride Month. But from that angle, there's the rainbow circle. Wouldn't that make a very nice dynamic wallpaper? Because that drone, and this is now just a technological wank off, but that drone did such a good job of staying like it was a fixed camera. There's no tiny, it's a bit windy up here, or it was locked. And I think if it had had the tiniest amount of movement, it would have ruined it. It was the fact that it was as if I was somehow, I'd gone into like photo mode in a video game and shot myself up there, and I wasn't impacted by the concepts of physics or weather or anything, because it was just locked. Don't know how they do that, by the way. Someone that knows about drones, teamradio@lapdownpod.com. But tremendous. And then over the hairpin as well, getting a little bit closer in there. I know we've had similar angles before, but it's sort of not perfectly over the top. Yeah. Tremendous, the drone. Just up the drone. The drone.
Possibly the real winner from the weekend.
I would almost take possibly out of that. I think the real winner from Monaco is the drone and the drone pilot.
Nice.
I mean, where do you go next?
Do we talk about Hamilton's helmet? Or
Let's talk about Hamilton's
Kim Kardashian,
helmet.
as she's also known.
Did he keep his helmet a little bit quiet? I feel like it was a low-key reveal for a very loud helmet.
Yeah. It kind of... I mean, we'll go into it, but I don't know the strength or the details of the relationship between Lewis and Kim. But it did kind of feel like a bit of a glitzy last-minute present that was a bit of a surprise that arrived on the private jet of the Kardashians that kind of went,
here you go, Lewis. Airport duty-free purchase.
Maybe, I don't know. And because, as you say, there was nothing until it got to Friday, or sorry, was it Thursday? I can't remember which way around they go with their free practice stuff now, because they used to just get pissed on Friday. I don't necessarily know if they do that anymore. But anyway, it got round to the first free practice, and all of a sudden it kind of went, oh, that's snazzy.
Yeah, I mean, hell of a helmet. and exactly what a special helmet should be completely different to your normal helmet.
Yeah.
It gave me like Pierre Gasly vibes for some reason. I think it's just because he's quite often been forced to have a pink special helmet to go with like the Alpine BWT stuff. And I don't wish to ruin this lovely helmet for you by implying that it is a Pierre Gasly helmet, but it gave me those kind of vibes that it wouldn't have surprised me if you couldn't see a big yellow prancing horse on the front of it, that it was a Gasly lid. But no, nice helmet. Didn't love the Mercedes ones that they basically forced them into the same helmet. Was it the Mercedes ones or was it Williams? One of the two. They put him in basically the same. No, it was Williams. Sorry, because it was a Claude time, wasn't it? It was about thinking and a brain or something. And they're basically in the same helmet now. And it's like, well, the point of the helmets being different is to help us work out who the fuck is who. Bearing in mind the two Williams followed each other around most of that circuit in one order or another. Didn't particularly help. Hey, I can tell you if you'd like. Would you like a Lewis Hamilton 2026 Monaco Grand Prix replica helmet?
Not really.
Do you not have $849 in order to buy your Lewis Hamilton Monaco Grand Prix replica helmet?
How much?
£630 and 43 pence. If you're playing along at home, full size.
Full size.
Yeah, replica helmet.
Oh well, now you've said that, and now I can just kind of potter about in it. Then it's worth considering, isn't it?
Yeah, it comes in a bag that says ham on it.
Nice.
I don't know if this is actually.
You can buy that stuff from Sainsbury's as well, can't you?
Yes, it has hands anchors. You can choose a matte or glossy finish. You can choose the fabric you want inside. So I don't think this is in any way a sort of. Well, I mean, it must be licensed in some way. It's got all these other ones on here. But yeah, big boy helmet.
It looked quite sparkly in the flesh. I mean, I assume this £649 one doesn't come with any of the sparkle.
It's sparkly. The picture's sparkly, certainly. Yeah, sparkly picture.
All right,
sparkly picture
good news.
Is what I'm seeing.
Should we tackle probably the biggest conversation and talking point for the weekend? If, of course, you watch the broadcast on the Formula One, should we talk about the Kim Kardashian?
The Kim Kardashian. Let's talk about the Kim Kardashian.
Well, as far as I could work out, she was the most important part of the weekend.
Yes, apparently so.
Yeah.
If you're the director, apparently so. That or the back of Cynthia's head. I
don't even know who Cynthia is.
She's the one from Wicked that was holding space. That one.
Is that the one that kind of made the other one look a bit odd?
They neither of them came out of it looking great, but yes, they just had to hold space for a minute. So
got you.
I had to hold space for Monaco, to be fair. So
how was the back of the head?
Heady.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got a very unusual haircut, does Cynthia. She's got the shaved head look going on. So it's sort of it is an interesting back of head as far as celebrity back of heads go. So I guess that makes sense that we would see that for 5 seconds during a Formula One session. I probably could have done without it. Where do we even begin with Kim? Because I mean, she was. You had a question you wanted to ask with Kim. Should we start with that?
What was my question?
You said you had a question about Kim.
Oh, yeah. No, I do have a question about Kim Kardashian, and it's quite a deep one, actually. But it's one kind of bro to bro, you know, and I just want to put it out there, and I just want to be sure that Kim Kardashian is going out with Lewis Hamilton for the right reasons, for love.
Yes.
I don't... And this weekend at Monaco has made me think that there might be ulterior motives involved.
Interesting.
Because it felt a little bit PR-y from... And I think probably everything that family does is a bit PR-y. I can't believe they even flush the toilet without having a camera crew with them at any point in their life. So I guess you can take that with a bit of a pinch of salt. But as I say, bro to bro, just want to make sure that Lewis is all right with this. Like, I think I wouldn't want the Kardashians to turn out to be the Gucci of Alpine, you know? Like, they've kind of flirted around with it for a bit. And actually, all they really wanted to do was to go and get their face slapped all over the television screen and had no intention of any long-term future with Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, because, look, hey, we're not here to be TMZ gossip style people. That's not the podcast. I saw a lot of Kim Kardashian. I saw a lot of Lewis Hamilton. I didn't see a lot of Lewis Hamilton and Kim Kardashian. They sort of, when you see stuff from the weekend of, and this is bad, I don't know the lady's name, George and his partner, wife, girlfriend, fiance, that lady,
Sure.
generally together. It's quite cute. There'll have been an interactive moment. You see Oscar, and I want to say her name is Lily, his long-term partner. Again,
Sounds about right.
there's bits going on there. You'll see them in the back of the garage, maybe. They're not necessarily there in the hospo. They are there in the Wag's pen. I think I only saw Kim either pushing other people out of the way or in a hospitality area by herself, / with all of her bodyguards and stuff. It may just be that they opted not to put themselves in front of the camera for that moment. But
Yeah, maybe. That sounds likely.
compared to every other, and I can't remember her name again, but Charles Leclerc's partner / wife / fiance / whatever, she's in things, and she's usually in the back of the garage because it's take a partner to work day, so you go into the back bit. So, yeah, odd. But why did we have to keep cutting to her constantly? I mean, this is not the first time we've complained about TV direction and that sort of thing here, and it's not the first, we're not the first people to ever do it. But I'll give them one. I'll concede Kim Kardashian, quite a big deal, and I will concede that she is, by all accounts, Lewis Hamilton's partner, so therefore if we're going other partners, we're obviously going to go Kim Kardashian as a partner. Whatever. Between Q2 and 3 or something, find her, get her on the telly. Yeah, great. Move on. I didn't need to keep going back to it. And then I didn't need her, I'm going to say it, making a tit of herself indirectly at every opportunity. Don't push Martin Brundle out the way. What the fuck do you think you're doing? I have no love for Michael McIntyre or Holly Willoughby, but if they're doing an interview with Sky, that's their space at the minute. And if you watch like Ted's Notebook, he makes a really big point in Ted's Notebook of not getting in the back of other people's shots, of if someone's talking to that person, we'll just wait over here, we'll get them afterwards, they're just going a bit longer. There is an unwritten respectful law, isn't there, in the paddock of how we behave with our colleagues and what's king there. And then I'm watching Michael McIntyre, perfectly big celebrity in his own right, getting bundled over by the security entourage of the Kardashian wave flowing through the paddock while he was live on Sky doing an interview. It's like, that's everything that's wrong with that. Everything that's wrong with it. And then the Martin stuff.
I think I've said this before. Like, I don't really understand celebrity culture anyway. Like the path at which my brain operates on is very different to the path at which that world, so obviously the world operates on, but also that clearly there are an awful lot of people around the world that are obsessed with these people. And I think obsessed is probably the right word. I just don't understand it. I really don't. And like you said, fine. Like, I will concede the fact that she, for whatever reason, is a popular character in this game that we're playing called life and the world. And that's okay. So yes, to cut and go, oh, look who's here. Interesting. Adds value. Fine. After that, what relevance does... I don't even know what... Is she just... What did they call them? I don't think socialist is the right word, but then it's not that, is it? It's almost like a... I don't know what she is, other than just having a lot of people know who she is.
Yeah.
I don't know what relevance or value any of that adds afterwards. No. And the Martin thing, look, I understand the rationale is that if you go onto the grid, you have an understanding that you may be interviewed at some point. It may not be by Martin, it may be by another broadcaster from around the world. It was so arrogant. But the person that pissed me off more was that kind of curly-haired cockwomble with the umbrella that just starts like shouldering him out the way. Yeah. And it's got nothing to do with celebrity status at this point. This is just to do with manners. Like, don't be a prick. You don't just push people out the way. Just fuck off. And the other thing as well is, right, Monaco, add that, chuck that in the box to start with. Formula One, right, on the grid, that's a pretty exclusive place that you probably don't need some curly-haired cockwomble next to you with an umbrella to protect you from the scummy urchins that you don't want to be near. That actually kind of fund the lifestyle that you live. But let's move on from that bit.
I've never understood the need for... I mean, the drivers don't have bodyguards on the grid.
Nope.
Like, Lewis Hamilton is worth however many disgusting amount of millions of dollars or whatever, is an absolute A-grade celebrity, and he's not being walked to his car from the paddock by even a circuit security man. It's just I'm at work at the minute, and this is it's up in the PMI area at cricket. Like, it's fine. I'm walking about here in what I know is already a restricted area, so I don't need further protection there. I don't need 8 bodyguards around me. Like, they can stand off to the side with a sniper rifle on the roof if they want. That's fine. But they don't need to be with you right now. Like, I guarantee you're not going to get run over. And no one's asking you for an autograph on the grid at the Monaco Grand Prix. Like, it's bizarre. Fundamentally bizarre. Should we talk about racing?
Oh, yeah, that happened, didn't it?
Some of the racing that did happen.
Yep.
Bits of. The pit lane speeding incident. I've seen a lot of takes on this. I'm going to assume, I haven't seen an answer one way or another. I'm going to assume that Alpine's right of review was rejected.
I haven't seen anything definitive, but I've seen theories.
Yes, and I saw a wonderful video of a man in an Alpine jacket using one of those trundle wheels to measure the length of the pit lane. It's like, going to give you a hot tip, Chief. That's not helping your argument right now. You walking through this like it's a school sports day, measuring out the 60-yard dash track, is not helpful. Yeah, I understand why it's frustrating for Gasly, because from what he can see and is aware of in the cockpit, he deployed the pit limiter, which is, I think, 59.5 kilometers an hour, to give them a little bit of margin. And he's done that correctly, and he didn't feel like he was sort of pushing it. And so he's like, well, hang on, that must be a technical issue, because I could see I was on the limiter. Yeah. And then it feels like it's really easily explained that it's a little bit of an anomaly this year, because it's the first year where we've got an extra garage in there, and the people that got caught were all cutting the corner. So I didn't actually know, by the way, that the pit lane speed limit was like an average speed camera. I didn't realize that. It's like being on the motorway. It makes sense, because otherwise how many little policemen with guns have you got there checking it? Makes complete sense now that I know that that's a thing. Didn't realize that was how it was policed. So it makes sense to me that you've actually driven a slightly shorter route accidentally, not really trying to gain an advantage, yes, but not trying to game the system. They take the shortest line.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that it happened. What amazes me, though, is that none of the engineers worked this out. For however many incredibly intelligent people there are in an F1 team, in the planning, the design of the car, track logistics, pit wall, all of that, how do you know? I mean, maybe they did. Only, sort of a third of the field or whatever got a speed in the pit lane penalty. So maybe they did, and they just kept it quiet and, hey, don't cut that off because you'll be too quick.
Yep.
But after it happens once, surely every other pit wall goes, it happens twice. One speeding the pit lane normal. When 2 people get done, you surely go, Brian, have a quick look. Just, that's odd. That's a strange one that it's happened. It's happened 3. Brian, have a quick look. What's going on there? Because we don't want to get caught up in that. That's what's for such a detail-orientated sport. It amazes me that not everyone clocked that this might be an issue, and then once it became an issue, how other people got stuck.
Yeah. Should it have been highlighted? Should they have been told before the weekend that yes, you must keep all 4 wheels outside of that white line to accommodate that new Cadillac garage? Like, should that have made the minutes and the briefing for the Monaco Grand Prix this week? It does rely on somebody reading it. I do realize that. Surely the cars were speeding in the pit lane all the way through practice and qualifying, and then got to the race, and as you say, still probably never, because I can't believe, like on FP1, that the cars were behaving going round the full white line. And the other thing that's really impressive is, like, we're probably talking about centimeters that they've cut the corner hit, and they're still getting penalized for
because
the
they were over
average
by
speed camera, which is
0.1, I
mental.
believe. I believe everyone.
Crazy.
Gasly was 60.4 and everyone else was 60.1. And I also agree, I'll say this, that's a slam dunk 5-second penalty. I don't care that it's 0.1 of a kilometer an hour. The rule is 60. So if you are over 60, I don't care by how much you're over. They shouldn't need, in a weird way, and this is a little bit like the track limits argument, that's just like pit lane track limits. You've just been stung and you don't get a warning, basically.
Yep.
Because if there was a wall there, like, what's the one where they go under the track, down and under?
Suzuka? Oh no, Abu Dhabi.
Out of the pit lane when they come down. They're not cutting the corner there, are they? Because there's a giant wall there. So had there have been a giant wall or a cone or whatever there, they made the choice of, I'm going to save a little bit of ground here. I'm going to cut the corner on the way out. So I don't really have any sympathy for them. I wonder if the practice answer is they don't really do too many actual pit stops through practice, and I imagine they don't hit the line. You know, they're trying to hit the line at 59.5 mile an hour, aren't they? In the or 60 kilometers an hour, or whatever it is. So I guess there's just probably more margin in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have a huge amount of sympathy for any of it.
No.
If everyone gets tripped up by it, there's maybe a problem. But it was, sort of 3 teams, I think, maybe got tripped up by it. So everyone else managed to. It's like track limits. Keep saying it. Everyone else managed to keep it in the lines. Then I'm sure you can too. You just tried to get a little bit more out of it. George Russell, what the fuck were you doing, bud? After that restart where he just decided to be a dick down the straight, I thought he was just going to park it and I'm taking his ball and going home. Like, I'm going to be dramatic and I'm going to ask a dramatic question.
That's what we're here for.
Nico Hülkenberg got a 10-second penalty for causing a collision with Carlos Sainz.
Yes.
I would argue George Russell caused that collision. So I'm giving George Russell a 10-second penalty for causing the collision between Nico Hülkenberg and Carlos Sainz. Because I think it's disgusting that Nico Hülkenberg's been given that 10-second penalty. It's a racing incident to me because Nico Hülkenberg's on the limits of how tight he can turn. There's like an actual stopper there, isn't there? So they can't actually turn the wheel any further.
Yeah.
He's not trying to overtake him. He's just going around the corner. Carlos is kind of cut across. If any blame, I'm putting the blame slightly on Carlos because I know he's got to come back across the track there. That is the racing line to then get around the next bit. But it's definitely not Nico Hülkenberg's fault. So if I'm going to attribute blame as to why that happened, the blame is going to a sulking George Russell for me, which I appreciate is not how the penalties work. But that's George Russell caused a collision for me.
Chief Steward Alex. Good.
Yes.
Did we find out why he was going so slowly? Did he have problems or did he? Was it a strategic thing? I'm not sure. And what I think we can say for certain is the fact that he's massively under pressure, isn't he? And he's not handling it very well right now. I mean, he is over nearly 70 points behind Kimi Antonelli, I think, after Antonelli's just gone and won 5 in a row. He qualified off the pace when Antonelli went and shoved it on pole. I don't necessarily know whether he would have been arrogant enough to have thought this season would have been a cakewalk to a Formula One World Championship for him. But I do worry and wonder whether he has come into this expecting it to be considerably easier than obviously what it has been up till now. Why he would have been going that slowly, I can't quite understand it. I can't see any benefit to what he would have had. I don't think he had... Did he have a time penalty?
He had a drive-through penalty, so he couldn't have... Even if there was... Because I saw some chat that he's trying to cause another safety car to, try and offset his penalty, but you can't serve a drive-through penalty under a safety car. So if you had a 5 seconds, you can, under a safety car, you can basically mitigate that and absorb that. But,
it's a strange one, isn't it?
I just think he lost his head. Honestly, I don't even think he had a plan. I think he lost his head and thought this would be funny. And just because it's not even like he was protecting Kimi, because there was no.
Well, that was the other thing as well, wasn't it? And and surely the logic for me, if he was that far behind, would have been put pressure on Hamilton to put Hamilton into the back of Antonelli,
go the other way,
and make those two guys kind of slog it out hard for the end of the Grand Prix, or get past Hamilton and get second place and do your damage limitation when it comes to that, and have a pop at Kimi yourself. I just think we might have to put that into the box of unknowns. I think
it's smacking Bottas on the helmet again territory for me. That it's just complete red mist. What the fuck are you doing? What was the plan, George? And you see him do stuff like that. And we talked, didn't we? This might have been last year at this point, where we tried, or early this year, we tried to understand why people don't like George Russell. They root against George Russell. Stop doing things like this, George. Probably help people root for you a little bit more. Like, no one is coming out of Monaco this weekend more of a George Russell fan than they were before the start of the weekend. And no one's feeling bad for him. I wasn't even feeling bad for him anyway. He just, for whatever reason, they just decided not to serve his 5-second penalty. Like, what are you doing there? So, yeah, it just... I get it. You're really disappointed. You have the car now to do it, and you're being absolutely smoked by a child. Like, that's unfortunate. That he won his first race and then hasn't lost since winning his first race, which is a mad stat. So, yeah, I think it's just an all-time head loss, is what I think it is.
Just weird.
And the fact he hasn't explained it already, that's what makes it worse. He's done plenty of media since then that he had an opportunity to be like, oh, yeah, I was just trying to do this. Like, no. Head loss. Isaac Hadjar nearly had his third place taken away from him. And I would like to flick this around here, and I'd like you to do some stewarding. Or I would like your reasoning here. I'd like you to defend or say they got it wrong. So Isaac Hadjar was under investigation for a red flag infringement, because Red Bull had the side of his engine cover off and they were replacing spark plugs, I believe it was, on that engine. You're not allowed to do that under a red flag because that's not a reliability or a damage thing. So they were doing that. They were blocking the sky cameras to hide what they were doing, which is dodgy as fuck, first of all. And then an FIA scrutineer has gone, lads, what are we doing there, please? Can't do that. And they went, oh, sorry. And they put back the original spark plugs, put the side back on, and went, there you go, car's the same as when it came in. And the FIA has decided that that's okay because the condition of the car didn't change. So I'll ask you, is that okay? And have they not broken a rule now because they undid the breaking of the rule that they did? Or have you broken the rule as soon as you've taken one spark plug out? Is the rule broken regardless of whether you look at the spark plug and put it back in?
I think the question comes down to whether this is a team or a driver sport. Ooh. We know it's a team sport. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's the question. You could argue the other way around if you wanted to. I'd be prepared to listen to that argument. But it's a team sport, and the team, as far as I'm concerned, have broken the rule. Now, whether they've gone along and been told about it afterwards, like that to me is, if we were in a developmental stage of life, then I don't necessarily mind it, in a sense that you get a teacher or an authority figure come along, tap you on the shoulder and go, no, come on, we don't do it this way around, we do it the other way. And they go, oh yeah, okay, no, sorry about that. I take it on board, won't happen again. I feel as though the team of Red Bull would know that what they were doing there wasn't allowed. And because they were blocking the sky cameras would lead you to believe and back that point up that they knew they were doing something they shouldn't have been. If you go past a speed camera at 80 miles an hour in the UK, it goes off, you get flashed. Mm-hmm. If you drive the next half a mile at 60 miles an hour to rectify the issue of driving past it at 80, you still get a letter through your letterbox asking you to pay some money and giving you 3 points on your license. As far as I'm concerned, the start that you've done that, you've broken it. You've cocked up at that point. I don't think you should have somebody coming around who is external to turn around and tell you shouldn't be doing. They are law and rule enforcements rather than law and rule assistance. Yeah.
Yes. I would agree that, and I will say, I don't know exactly the order, and I don't think anyone knows exactly the order of where that scrutineer did or didn't get involved. It seems like they tapped him on the shoulder and went, hold on, you can't do that, which at that point they have identified a rule breach, because it's not as if Red Bull came over and went, hello, mate, can we swap them over, please? Fine, great. You've started doing it. You've been told that's not allowed. You've undone it. You've done something that wasn't allowed. So I am very surprised, that... Because otherwise, what's the difference with... Say that spark plug was just not seated correctly or something. It had wiggled itself loose. Can spark plugs wiggle themselves loose? I don't know what a spark plug is. I'm going to be really honest.
Yeah, why not?
Say the spark plug had wiggled itself loose, and that's why he didn't have first gear and why he was having the power issues. And by removing it and putting it back in, they reseated it and solved the issue. Mm-hmm. If they weren't allowed to do that, they have worked on the car and gained an advantage of even if an engineer just blew lightly on that spark plug before they put it back in, they've done something now, haven't they? Something's changed. That a seal has been touched that was sealed before. Like, it just feels. I think Isaac's a lucky boy to have maintained a Monaco podium there. I think that's, and again, not his fault. Would have been really disappointing for him. But like Pierre Gasly, that's heartbreaking watching him celebrate that entire lap on his onboard because his team didn't tell him that it actually wasn't his. But you broke your rule, and the bloke that was in charge of telling you you've broken a rule told you broke a rule, so you unbroke it, but you still broke the rule, didn't you? So
yeah, it was weird, very strange. Very strange.
Yeah.
Just a lack of consistency once again, I think.
Yes. And I appreciate there probably isn't a precedent for this, and there may be a precedent. I don't know. But, yeah, that feels like a worrying precedent to now be setting, that you can fully disassemble that car if you'd like during a red flag, as long as you put all the same bits back on. It's like, well, you've got no way of knowing what tiny little changes were made in the meantime while they were doing that. Just one little brush just to knock a little bit of dirt off something by a you've got to be very careful. Very careful. Do we have anything else, or should we read the team radio from Dan 2?
I think it's probably just to wrap with team radio, then roll into the super picking and get back to planning a podcast for Thursday, I guess, because we go to Barcelona.
We go straight to Barcelona. So let's get a little bit of team radio from Dan 2. And Dan 2 starts with good gents, as is. I like the Dan greetings. It's always nice to see what's coming up. First of all, shout out to Dan 2's wife, who currently has a broken ankle and is finding walking around the house difficult. So this is word for word, Dan's emails. Sympathies for her, obviously. But one of the few good things to come out of this horrible time for her is the lack of action my marriage has been seeing over the last 2 weeks has suitably prepared me for a thoroughly unbangedness I experienced while watching the Monaco Grand Prix. I wasn't expecting much, but if the highlights are engines not engineering, one Lindblad overtake, and Monegasque tarmac deciding to identify as British and disintegrate, I should have lowered my expectations further. We need to work out what we're doing with Dan because he didn't have a chance to super pick. He has said, if possible, just choose whoever finished behind Ocon, because he was the Canadian pick. But we'll work out a system if we miss a pick. That's fine. But he has a question. And it's a bit of a general question that we probably could have read this at the top, because I think a lot of the podcast has answered this, but we'll see how we go. My question this week, though, is this. If the cars can't overtake, if qualifying is more important than the actual race, if the track is literally falling apart and binning two drivers at polar ends of the talent scale into the same bit of Aramco, what is the point in keeping Monaco anymore? The easy answer is prestige, heritage, history. I'm well aware, but then can't we just run historic invitational races around Monaco in smaller cars and have it act as an optional thing rather than a mandatory overhype we get subjected to? Just feels like a week-long Monaco tourist board advert where there happens to be a race going on. Also, not sure if you're aware, as it was barely mentioned, but Kim Kardashian and her sister Chloe were at the Monaco Grand Prix. Patiently awaiting Barcelona, Dan 2. Dan, do we still need Monaco?
Yeah.
It's an annual question, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's an annual question.
It's a really hard one to answer, isn't it? I don't even know if anybody knows Monaco exists outside of that week for the year. I don't genuinely think. I'm not even convinced people would holiday or visit Monaco if it wasn't for the Formula One. No. But I feel as though you went because of the Grand Prix.
I knew it existed because of I didn't go when the Grand Prix was on, but I knew Monaco existed as a place near Nice because I'd seen it on the telly.
This is the thing. I don't necessarily know if... Well, some people would, but the millionaires would. I don't know if anybody would know Monaco was even a place. I think if Monaco didn't have a Grand Prix, it would be the world's best kept secret for... I mean, maybe these things aren't great. You don't really want millionaires having kind of secret locations where they can kind of do millionaire things. But I think it would be one of those places that I just don't think it would. I don't think anybody would know it was there.
Valid. Yes, I would. Yes, I would say that's valid. Well, I will to answer Dan 2's question sort of head on about should we just make it a showcase race. I believe when Formula E raced around Monaco this year, they had 197 overtakes in the Formula One Monaco E-Prix. Now, I appreciate they are slightly different kinds of sports, and we get considerably more overtakes in E-Prix than we do in Grand Prix anyway. But, funnily enough, smaller cars around Monaco are able to do more things. So, it is just going to be a problem while these cars are this size. And if Formula E can provide... Well, I will hold my hand up. I didn't watch... I believe there were 2 E-Prix in Monaco. I didn't watch either of them. So I couldn't tell you if those 197 overtakes were legitimate, illegitimate, yo-yo overtakes, whatever. I couldn't tell you if they were good or bad. But there was 197 of them. You'd like to hope at least a couple of them were good. I don't know how many overtakes we would have had in the Grand Prix yesterday. I mean, it's single digits, certainly.
I think Gasly overtook somebody. Gasly overtook Norris.
Yeah, when he died, didn't he?
Yeah.
Gasly overtook Norris early doors because, he got squeezed by... Well, not squeezed by, but there was just not quite enough room there with Oscar. And then in theory, a couple of cars, I guess technically it's an overtake if a car is doesn't have power and is retiring. I think Norris
Hulkenberg might have overtaken one before he hit Sainz.
Yeah, we're talking single digits though, aren't we? We're certainly not talking 197.
We're clutching.
So
here you go, right? Because it's a one-off, I think it's okay. I think if you had 24 Monacos, then yes, there would be conversation to go, we don't need this anymore. If we had 24 Spas or 24 Silverstones, but because it is a world championship that has a variety of different challenges, and Monaco itself, yes, the 78 laps of it is still a challenge, of course it is, but it provides a different challenge. And I don't necessarily think variety is a bad thing. I mean, they do have a historic Grand Prix of Monaco event, which I think is held the weekend or 2 weeks before the actual Grand Prix, but obviously doesn't really get any media coverage, so nobody knows it goes on. I think there was a whole bunch of old Ferraris bombing around, but the comparison to Formula E to this, I don't think is fair and relevant because of the costs associated to it. I'm sure Formula E is not cheap, but you can get 197 overtakes done when you've got cars that are just prepared just to plow into the side of others. There doesn't seem to be any jeopardy or cost associated to if you just rip off half the side of your Formula E car because you've gone, is there a gap? No, I don't think so, but fuck it, I'm just going to shove it down there anyway. I don't necessarily think these cars and drivers work in that same way. So, and I'm sure they are smaller. Almost certainly going to be smaller, which is going to create a little bit more room. But is what it is. We don't have to talk about it for another 12 months, so we can carry on and we can talk about something else next week, I think.
There you go. We've got Barcelona next.
And if you get bored about it, we can just... I tell you what, if we can't record a podcast pre or post Monaco, we'll just re-release this one.
That's a great shout. Feed up time.
Week
Perfect.
Off, holiday, sun, Monaco. Here we go.
Sounds good. Hey, we'll be back later in the week as we look ahead to Barcelona. And is it still the Spanish Grand Prix, or is Madrid taking the Spanish Grand Prix off it?
I don't know anymore. Would you like me to consult?
Look, I'll read out about the social bits while you find out if Barcelona is still the Spanish Grand Prix. Team Radio at lapdownpod.com. If you have any thoughts, questions, etc., send them our way. You can find us on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram at lapdownpod. If you'd like to go and watch Dan do cricket stuff, he does that at Dan Jad's Cricket Club on YouTube. You can also find him at Dan Jad's on various other social platforms. We do another podcast, which is basically this, but instead of cars, it's cricket. And it's not quite as long. So if you want an extra half an hour's worth of these two faces and voices in your week, you can have them at Dan Jad's Cricket Club. You can go and watch Keeper and First over there. You'll also find it on Spotify and other podcast places. Twitch.tv/Hey Look It's Alex if you want to see me play games and stuff like that. I think this evening I'm going to be setting up an ale distillery inside an abbey. So that's what you can look forward to there. leave a like, leave a review, and Dan has the answer for me, and the answer is...
This weekend is going to be the Formula One MSC Cruises Gran Premio de Barcelona-Catalunya 2026.
So not the Spanish Grand Prix.
Not the
Certainly
Spanish
not,
Grand Prix. In
certainly
Spain,
not based on that. In Spain,
but not Spanish.
Not the Spanish. There you go. In Spain, but not Spanish. Perfect. Hey, thank you for watching. We will see you all later in this week before we go to not the Spanish Grand Prix. Little bit.
See ya.